This deck, out of my decks that I have, is the one that I respect the most. Hi, my name is fecund Maiden, but since we're friends, you can call me Tanisha. And today I'm reviewing the African American Tarot deck. So what is the African American Tarot deck? Well, it's kind of what it sounds like. It's a tarot deck reimagined and reconfigured for African Americans. And I really love this deck. Ever since I saw this deck on someone else's YouTube reading and I saw the back of the cards, I was immediately drawn to this deck, and it's not without good explanation why. This deck, out of my decks that I have, is the one that I respect the most. Not only does this deck guide me in love and light, but it also educates me on traditional African deities and also some African American icons that I never got to learn about in school because white supremacy. So I really love this deck, and if you are considering getting it, I would 11 out of 10 recommend that you buy it, because it's not an expensive deck, it's not inaccessible to buy, and it's life-changing. I truly feel that my ancestors can communicate more clearly with me through this deck than they could, for say, in my traditional Rider-Waite deck. So I highly recommend checking this out and seeing if you are called to buy it. But I bought it and I don't regret my purchase. And if anything, I'm really honored and glad that this deck chose me. So whenever you get the deck, all of this will be wrapped tightly in plastic, but I've already opened my deck and consecrated it in my essence and cleansed my cards. So you will get this this like false card, just the African American Tarot, and this is what the back of all of the cards look like. I really love this design because the black and the white paint reminds me of the yin and yang balance that we have in the world. And ultimately, when they're all shuffled and facing this way, you can't tell the difference, which is ideal in a tarot deck. You'll also get this informational card that has their website on it and basically thanking you for buying the deck. So when you take out those two cards, you have 78 beautiful cards left in this deck. And I think the reason that I like these a lot is because of the size. They are a little bit taller than like a playing deck of cards, but they are pretty much the same width. So my tiny little hands can actually hold this deck completely in one hand. And that does become handy whenever you're shuffling 78 cards. So I will show you the face of a few of these cards, the ones that want to be shown, but ultimately I want to leave it to you to buy this deck and become acquainted with and bonded with all of the cards in this deck. And I will also read some of the booklet information in this. Another good reason I recommend this deck is because the book comes in, I think, 5 different languages, including Spanish. So if you are an Afro-Latina or Latino, if you're Latinx, then this is going to have Spanish in it. And especially if you're connecting back with your African or Afro-Indigenous roots and you speak Spanish, this book has got you covered. So I really love that. As someone who got their bachelor's degree in Spanish, I do sometimes look at the Spanish stuff in it and I'm like, oh, that's how you say that, or that's how you say that deity's name in Spanish. So really interesting, but the first few pages are in English. So let's go ahead and dive into okay, so it says that it has English, Italian, Spanish, French, and Dutch. So if you speak any of those languages and you're interested in this deck, then go ahead and get it because it's got you covered. I want to introduce the card that is on the box here. There is 2 cards on the box, but I want to introduce the one that I was drawn to and the one that is included as an extra card to make the deck 80. And I believe this is the Queen of Cups. I'm going to try to find her in my deck. In this book, it's called Chalices, but ultimately it's the Cups suit. So this is the back of the card, and the Queen of the Cups is Marwe, goddess who came back from beyond the grave of South Africa. And this card represents wisdom, clairvoyance, comprehension, and sensitivity. It can also represent a wife, mistress, or loyal and sincere friend. And I love this card so much because she's like on her rug, and she's got her feet with her hella anklets and adorned in jewelry and drinking from the cup of life. And there's this river that's passing by her, and she's in a very abundant scenery. And I think this is a really good representation of what this entire deck has to bring to you. And that's why they put it on the back of the box, because this essence, this giving freely of abundance in pure harmony with everything else, is the vibe that I get from this entire deck. So love the Queen of Cups card. The next card I want to show you is the Empress card. My favorite card in any deck that I've ever owned, especially in my Rider-Waite, is the Empress card. And that is because, hello, my name is fecund Maiden. I attract the Empress card no matter what deck it is. So she obviously wanted me to speak on her behalf. And in this deck, the Empress card is actually Oshun, the Yoruban goddess of the river and motherhood. And in the book it says, Oshun, goddess of love, creativity, and fertility, from Nigeria. It represents light, fertility, abundance, imagination, creativity, love rewarded, but the shadow can represent envy, creative sterility, laziness, destructive seduction, and meddling in the affairs of others, because we all know Oshun had her downfalls, didn't you? She's not going to acknowledge those. But ultimately, I'm so drawn to this card. As I read out, it represents imagination, creativity, dance, abundance, motherhood, fertility, and those are all things that are highly aligned with fecund Maiden and my agenda. So I love this card. It represents Oshun, and it's number 3, the Empress card. As far as the vibe of this deck, I feel that this deck is going to give you the unsugar-coated truth, but it comes from a place of love, abundance, protection, realignment, and guidance. And I have never felt like this deck was like reading me for filth or trying to drag me, unlike my Rider-Waite deck, who is like a tough love type of deck. So with this deck, I feel in alignment with my blood, with my DNA, with my ancestors, and it's for my best abundant life. It's for my guidance. It's for my protection. And I feel like I have 78 family members that are speaking to me every time I use this deck. So if you found this information helpful, thank you. And if you found any value in this video, please share it to someone else, especially if you know that they've been thinking about buying this deck, because whenever I'm holding them, I can just feel the love coming from my blood, from my ancestors, as I hold it in my hand. So if you have been called to or attracted to this deck, I want to go ahead and let you know that this is a sign from your ancestors, your spirit guides, and the universe to check it out and maybe put it in your wish list. So with that being said, I am really happy to show you this deck, and it's ultimately for love and abundance and guidance. And if you found any value in this video, please share it, give it a like, subscribe to my channel for my other videos so you don't miss any, and I will catch you on the flip side. Peace and namaste. You're gonna get it right.